Marcus, you there? Okay, Shane, what is a 2.3?
False calls for emergency services.
Good job. Duke, what is a 1.12? Duke, you there? Okay, moving on. Glenn, what is a 1.12?
Assaulting a police officer.
Good job. Bless, what's a 1.8?
Collision with a pedestrian.
Good job. Easton, what's a 2.4?
Turning on music and asking to turn it off.
Okay, and other things too, right? So any kind of debauchery, or any kind of disturbing the peace, right? But good job. Jimmy, what is a 2.7?
Extortion.
Good job. Cade, what's a 3.3?
Aiding in the resistive arrest.
Good job. Bless, question?
Yes, real quick. Are we going to learn... Sorry if you couldn't hear me. My mic kind of like hangs lower than my mouth. Are we going to also be learning RP and PD as well? Because that's kind of what I'm actually wanting to try to learn. But what are the most important ones and what are the most ones violated?
So right, so they're all equally important, right? The ones that are most often violated for RP rules, it's usually 1, 4, 6, 8, 11, and then 16.
Yeah, that's where you just lost me. All right, so 1, 4, 6, 8, and 16 are the most. All right.
Those seem to be the most violated from what I see moderators and admin jailing people for. Just for being in the green zone and shooting in the green zone, stuff like that. It's like it's 1, 4, 6, and 11. Just for shooting in the green zone.
All right, James, go ahead and start the class.
All right, guys. So thank you for being here today. This is actually the largest turnout we've had for this class. So I'm just going to start at the top by explaining what a get out of jail card is. Usually you win them in the game. It's, as far as I know, there's not an actual cap on the amount of get out of jail cards you can get. But what they do is they can reduce your jail time by up to 20 minutes. They don't work for moderator jail time, only for PD faction jail time. A lot of people don't know all the details about that, so I always like to put that up front. Before we dive in, the minutes that you get for each offense, criminal category 1, which is category 1, is 20 minutes. The civil category is 10 minutes of jail time. And then your category 3, which is administrative, is 5 minutes. And I noticed lately that people have been putting the wrong violations in the wrong category when they put a violation in. When you guys go through there and you're adding a violation in, it clearly shows, if it's, you get to choose which one it is, criminal, administrative, or civil. So if, I know some of you at a certain rank, you don't have the ability to add a criminal charge. So just make sure you call a supervisor over or a vest officer or a suit, and they can add that criminal category for you. But otherwise, if it's criminal, remember it always starts with 1, and civil it's 2, and then administrative it's 3. I actually encourage you to have a copy of all the rules. It doesn't hurt to, in NRP, have a copy of the rules printed off when you're new. I did, so because I didn't get a violations class, so I encourage you to do that. So to start off, For criminal category violations, the one category, there's 1.1 and 1.2. Let me throw those up right quick. So we don't really get these often unless it's for like an RP event, like a, I actually haven't ever seen 1.1, I think. But we also have 1.3, which is hostages or kidnapping. That's when you're going to see a lot more, and they're going to ask you about the RP rules for kidnapping during a rank-up interview, especially for vested officers. So 1.1 is capture of a state institution, like the PD, hospital, military base, any state institution. And then 1.2 is taking control or authority through an unlawful means, including violence or intimidation. That would likely go hand in hand with 1.1. But the one I really want to focus on is that 1.3, because that ties directly into the RP rules. So taking or holding a civilian as security for fulfillment of a condition, taking a person against their will and holding them captive. That's 1.3, taking hostages and kidnapping. And the RP rule for kidnapping is RP 12, unrealistic kidnapping attempt. Any kidnapping attempt in which the number of kidnapped players is greater than 50% of the total number of kidnappers is considered unrealistic. So whenever they kidnap somebody, and if you're on SWAT, you're really going to want to know this too, because they cannot kidnap more than 5 players. And you cannot have, for example, 4 hostages and 4 kidnappers and then still negotiate with the police. You have to have an extra person to negotiate with the police during an RP event like that. So that's RP 12, NRP kidnapping, unrealistic kidnapping attempt. If they go outside of that in any way, more than 5 players, too many, not enough hostage takers, that's going to be an RP 12. Before I go on, is there any questions on that?
How many times have you actually run into that situation?
Several.
There's been a few times that has happened. I personally haven't had that happen to me, but I know people here like Mike or someone who have had that happen. I think E-Boy's had it happen 2 or 3 times at least. So it does happen.
We can't hear over your music, sir.
I say, how do they even kidnap a suspect? Kidnap somebody? How do they do that? Is it like they force them to get in a car?
So yeah, I mean the other person has to. It's for an RP event, so the other person has to have some compliance in it to fulfill the RP. But basically, when you agree to do something like that, you're agreeing to do it for the RP role play. Because you can't actually grab someone and just throw them in the back of a vehicle or anything. It's part of an RP event.
Yes, sir.
All right. So moving on, 1.4, pretty self-explanatory. It's fatal collision. And the only way this one applies is if a civilian dies from being struck by a car. So this wouldn't apply if they just get ran over and they get back up. It has to be a fatal incident. These next 2, I really want you to pay attention to. I'm going to throw these up here. This involves using the /try/do feature in your chat. It does go back to the RP rules. Let me put these up. All right. So 1.5, attempted theft. This charge applies when a civilian uses /try to steal something and fails. 1.6 is when a civilian does a slash try to steal something from an officer and it is successful, or they do a slash do and they actually steal something from the officer. So they have to actually write it up there in the chat box, slash do, and whatever they're going to try to steal. Or steal, actually, because slash try is like a roll of the dice. The RP rule that applies here is RP7, which is RP disbalance, is what the admin calls it. So being disbalanced or incorrect and using slash do, slash me, yeah, like that, slash try. So like if you try to do if you'd put a slash, something that should be in a slash try command in a slash do or slash me, that's an RP7. I got a lot of questions in private about, can a cop actually be robbed? And yes, that is the category, the 1.6 that covers that. So just keep that in mind. RP7 applies to that. Any questions on that before I go into green zones?
No, sir.
All right.
So for those violations, those are all actual role play scenarios.
Yeah, so like this is like, for example, I mean, it can be literally anything that they can try to steal from you. I mean, it could literally be your coffee, a donut. It covers anything.
I'll shoot you. Touch my donut.
Actually, hold on. We had an incident today. Actually,
What?
That's crazy. Who just did that? Try and fail. What?
we had an incident today where somebody was in the front seat of a patrol car and wouldn't get out, and that could also be considered attempted theft.
Yes, and that
Damn, that's crazy.
That includes even if they get in the back as well. If they just get into the back of the cruiser, for example, or the front, that's also a 1.6. I've seen people apply that to that situation.
Hey, real quick, I got a question. So, if their buddy is arrested in the back and they jump in our vehicle, so aren't they also trying to aiding in the, the resistance of arrest for us?
So, yeah, we'll cover that underneath the administrative violations, but they have to actually be, if they're just jumping in the back of the vehicle, that would also be a 1.6. They have to be shooting at you when you're trying to arrest someone or something like that that's more substantial to get, an aiding in a
Right,
arrest.
but if their buddy's in the back, wouldn't that make that two different charges?
Yeah, that would be a charge for each one of them, depending on who's
That,
doing it.
yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like, so if I'm already getting them to get in my vehicle, 1.6, when I also be getting them if their buddies in the back of my car when I'm arresting them for a 3.3?
Well, yes, because they jumped into your car, and they're not even under arrest or anything. They're just jumping into the car and trying to take a free ride and all that.
But is it like that's when you apply? Sorry, that's when you apply this Microsoft for them, right? If I want to leave the.
Yeah, they have to use the actual text for a 1.5 and a 1.6. They have to actually do a slash do or slash try or slash me, I think, to do that.
Who keeps asking for my workbook?
Yes, Chansey.
Okay, so I had a situation happen to me a couple times where like someone walks up to me and they spit on me. Like you'll hear them make the and then they'll put it in the chat. What do I do?
Assault.
That's debauchery.
Well, that's a 2.4 because they're spitting on you.
Backstory.
That's debauchery.
So even if they don't type it in the chat, if they just do the action of and I have that on body cam, is that sufficient enough?
Well, yes, because that charge doesn't actually require that they actually put that in the chat. They can just do, a voice thing like you explained, Or just tell you verbally, I'm going to spit in your face, and then make the noise, and I that should be a 2.4.
Gotcha.
Alrighty, so moving on to green zones. As you guys know, 1.7 and 3.2 pretty much go hand in hand when it comes to green zones, and I will cover the RP for that. So 1.7, uncoordinated entry onto territory protected by law. If a civilian trespassing onto territory, if a civilian is asked to leave and refuses to do so, the civilian is trespassing in the area. This includes PD, HP, the church, the military base, any green zone. Keep in mind, too, the bar up on the Hollywood Strip is a green zone. The theater is a green zone. Hands is a green zone. 3.2 applies with this because it's disobeying a police officer. You're giving them a warning. You're dropping that macro. Let me drop it right quick. You're dropping those green zone related macros, and then you usually give a 5 to 10 second countdown. And then you can apply, if they don't leave, you can apply 1.7 and 3.2, which is disobeying a police officer. And I'll go a little bit deeper into 3.2 when we get there, because it covers a whole range of things besides just green zones and lawful orders. But the RP rule, when it comes to green zone guys, and this is huge, is RP 11. Non-compliance with the protected area. Committing crimes or attacking other players in green zones. Lying in wait to kill players exiting green zones, which often happens a lot around here by the PD. If, usually you guys have seen someone sitting across the street and they shoot at your car when you drive out. Get that on body cam. That's an RP 11. And they can get jailed for that by the mods. That includes any other green zone, but it usually happens, HP, PD, that type of thing. Any questions on that?
Yeah, so at the times I'm doing 10-12, at hands, and I dropped the three, which one was it?
The 1.7 and 3.2.
The 1.7 and 3.2. They get really mad and they start saying that they could be there. They just, I don't know, that even the mods say they could be there.
Hey, look, real quick, let me put some input on that. Like, I know in the green zone, you were only supposed to be in that section for a certain limited amount period of time. Especially like HP,
Question.
only supposed to heal and then.
Give me a second to give you a clear answer on that one, Jimmy. Vehicle market, which is hands, it is technically a green zone, but it's different from any other green zone, specifically that green zone. Why? Because people are allowed to sell their vehicle, but if you see someone is sitting there just chilling and chit-chatting all day, not actually trying to sell a car, then he is violating the green zone rules. But if you see someone that is telling someone else how much you want to sell this car, how much you want to do this, then he is technically selling a car and he's conducting his work there. You cannot arrest him or tell him to leave until he finishes his work. But you see someone chilling there for 15 minutes doing nothing, just standing there, no. You gotta leave, my brother.
What other
Simple.
green zones are like that?
Other green zones are like that. It's actually only vehicle market. Only vehicle market just gets treated differently than any other one. No, church, they also can, unless there's an event. An RP, if there's an event at church where they're like actually doing a wedding or they're praying or they're RPing in church. But for them just to chill and have their weapon inside the church and not actually doing something that they're RPing there, then you are to ask them to leave. Main two things that you're gonna ask people to leave from green zones are PD and HP. To be honest with you guys, on the hands, you have to be very careful on how you ask them to leave, and make sure if they are there to sell their car, you are not allowed to tell them leave the area until they finish their business and move on. But they sell the car and they stand there and they'll be like, "Bro, my wife cooked." No, time to leave, my brother. It's a green zone area, not a chill zone area. As soon as you see that happen, then you instruct them to leave.
Yes, Shane.
I was just reading in the chat where Rye Guy said about the spitting IRL would be assault on a police officer. If that were to happen, can we charge them with a 2.4 and a 1.12?
No 1.2.
1.12.
The 2.4 is debauchery, and that covers spitting, so you can charge them with that. The 1.12, that's for the definition for 1.12. First of all, 1.11 and 1.12 apply automatically in a white zone. If you're in a green or a red zone, you can apply 1.11 or 1.12. And the 1.12 includes being shot, punched, run over by a car, that type of stuff.
Yeah, so I said that, but yeah, in the game, no, you cannot charge him with a 112 for spitting. IRL though, it is assault.
Why not?
Because there's already a charge to cover spitting.
Not in game, Diddy. NRP, yes. In real life, like they said, yes, it is actually an assault. But in game, you cannot put 1.12 on them. Admin changed that rule. I do agree with you guys. It should be 1.12. It's admin who said that, Diddy.
Quick question. So, like I was about to say, right? So,
I don't
the other
remember.
day,
Thing, or they assault you with the car, like hitting you with the car, something like that, then you can put the 1.12. That's why they have a certain charge for the spitting. They made it a specific charge for it in the game. I get it in real life, it is actually an assault, but in game, it is a 2.4 charge, guys. Do not put 1.12 if someone is spitting on you. You put 2.4.
So in game, the 1.12 is for anything that causes damage to you. In green zone, it's not going to cause damage. If they do hit you with a car that would normally cause you damage, then you can charge them a 1.12.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Hey, John, do you know which admin told you that?
I was told by the players, Diddy. Yeah, and they complained. People complained. They were like, "Why we have two charges then for the spitting? That mean what? You're gonna put 2.4 and 1.12 on me at the same time because you have two charges now." So yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. If somebody runs me over with the car, I'm gonna hit them with the 1.8 and 1.12, and that's allowed too.
Yeah, if somebody kills me, it's 111 and 112. So I mean, two charges really doesn't seem like that big of a deal for that.
Yeah, but would you charge someone for one single offense two charges in real life? That's what would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
The same
In real life, that's right there, that 1.12, that's all that they're going to charge you with. It don't matter what it is. It's technically assault.
But guys, think about real life. You're going to charge me twice for the
where I'm from, they
Yes.
go straight with that. That's just my honest thing. That's just not me being a parent. I'm just like, you know.
Well, I guys, I can't do anything about it. I get what you guys saying, and I trust me, I agree with you guys, but we have to follow the rules of the admin when they said it. It's actually people who are out there complaining about it, because people, when we put the charges on them, they complain about it to the admin, and that's why admins sometimes they look at it and see, okay, maybe yes, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I dig it.
So
Yeah.
who's admin? I want to know who's admin. I want to meet admin.
There's no hiring events. Guys, let's finish the class, please. Keep going, James.
All right, so the next one is a 1.8, which is collision with a pedestrian. Now, earlier I said that there's a 1.4, which is a fatal collision, which is when a civilian dies from being struck by a vehicle. A 1.8 is when you simply hit a civilian and they don't die, but they got damage, of course, because you hit them. So that's a 1.8 collision with a pedestrian using a vehicle. So there's, just to contrast those two, 1.4 is fatal, 1.8 is simple collision. Think VDMing, that type of thing. 1.9 is discharging a weapon in a public place. Obviously, it is what it says it is, but just keep in mind, yes, that's right. Just keep in mind that technically one state, no matter what server you're in, is concealed carry only. I just like to point that out. So when they're carrying a weapon in a public place, John, that's what I was going to ask you too. How come I've heard that it's concealed carry, but for example, we don't always arrest someone for just having an open carry because it says that 1.9 is concealed carry only.
So technically, when I first started here, when someone is having their gun out, they only told me to put 3.2 charge on them, disobeying a police officer. I fought that so hard. Why would I just put a violation of 3.2 on a person when he's technically having his weapon out? Technically, it has to be a charge for discharging your weapon out. So they brought up the 1.9 and 3.2. So if you see someone with their gun out and you tell them to put their gun out after giving them the this micro warning, which is put your weapon away or force will be used, and you count down 5 seconds, give them another proper warning verbally. If they refuse to put their weapon away, put the 1.9 charge on them and put the 3.2 charge on them. That is only fair because he's not only disobeying your order, he's also having his gun out. It is from now on, and now we have it confirmed from the admin. You see them with their gun out, 1.9, 3.2, right away.
That's anywhere, right? Like even just
Anywhere. Nobody's allowed to have their weapon out in one state at all. We are not an open carry state. Anybody with their gun out, you are to instruct them to put their gun away.
All right, I'm down.
That's actually the best explanation I've ever had of that, to be honest. So I'll remember that.
Us in Florida, we open carry in Florida, boy.
Yeah, in this one state, we are not an open carry state.
All right.
Okay. So the next one I often contrast with 2.7. So it's 1.10, bribing a police officer, because I noticed that some people kind of confuse the two. So 1.10, bribing a police officer, offering something of value, favors, money, gifts, in a hope that it persuades the officer's actions or decisions. A 2.7 is extortion. And extortion involves demanding or receiving something of value, like money, a favor, under the threat of harm, death, or exploitation. So just kind of keep that in mind. 2.7 is usually a demand or a threat. and then 1.10 is you're going to get something of value in return.
Relog, James, because you're lagging.
Okay, whoops, sorry. I'll relog right quick.
Relog, yeah.
Shut up.
Sure, an RP. All right, I need a class, guys, so please don't delay so we can finish up.
All right. So, did anybody catch anything about 1.10 and 2.7? That it's
I don't think you were lagging,
okay.
James.
All right. So 1.10 is simply offering something of value in exchange for, you know, to try to persuade an officer to change their decision. So you offer them money, gifts, that type of thing. 2.7 is very different. It's intimidation or a threat. Like, for example, demanding
Can I show
something of
them a scenario?
value.
Can I show them an example?
Yeah, sure.
Every time you log in, I need 20K from you. Every time you log in, or I will kill you. That's a 2.7 right there.
That's extortion, yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's pure extortion. I definitely know what that is.
All right. And then, so that's your 2.7 and 1.10. You will be probably asked that in a rank up interview, by the way. 2.6 is insulting a state employee. The biggest note of caution on using this charge is that it's not directed at the whole faction. It has to be directed at you personally. So if they're insulting you, cussing you, that type of thing, it has to be you. It can't be like a general comment directed at the whole PD.
Yes, police.
So administrative violations, 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 all sort of intertwine with each other depending on the situation. So let me throw these three up just so they're straight in everybody's head. So 3.1 is resisting arrest. So basically, just intentionally preventing or obstructing a police officer from making an arrest by using force, struggling, continuously moving far enough away from you that charges can't be applied, uh, refusing to sign a citation. 3.2 is what we covered for green zones, but this can include refusing to pull over when you drop your macro, when you're doing a pullover, um, refusing to sign citations. They put refusing to sign citations underneath 3.2 as well, because when you guys do PD1 or have done PD1, you notice that they have to sign a citation at the end. This also includes fleeing or attempting to escape. And none of this necessarily has to be verbal. It can just be an attempt, bodily attempt to get away from you. Aiding the resistive arrest is a 3.3. Now, sometimes you guys are going to pull people over that have a passenger, and let's say you're arresting the driver, and the passenger gets out and they start shooting at you. They go spawn a car right beside there's a parking lot there, and they try to VDM you. That's aiding in the resisting of arrest. Anything that is an attempt to cause you to lose control, like during a chase, that type of thing. That's 3.3.
Can I also give them an example on it too?
Yes, please.
It could be literally when you have them, when you're reading the right, someone is trying this while you're reading the right, you're like blah 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 blah. Yeah, don't read them as right. It could be simply like that. That's a 3.3 because he is provoking you. What is it?
You have to put your macros up first. You didn't put your macros up.
Yeah, you didn't put your macro up. You're doing this. He's provoking you to make you lose control on the arrest. So that's also 3.3. Anything he's doing and interfering in your arrest, that is a 3.3.
And I'll say this too, and I noticed that we don't cover that. Well, no, because they're not really, well, they're not really disrupting faction operations necessarily, are they? Because that's just an arrest, John.
If he shoots you for no role play reason, then it becomes RP 15. If he tases you out of the vehicle and while you have the suspect inside, that's a faction disruption of operation. Basically, he's preventing you illegally by provoking like the rules of the RP rules from making you making an arrest. For example, I made a traffic stop and out of nowhere someone showed up from far away, started shooting at me. I don't even know who this guy is. That's RP 15.
Okay. So yes, that does cover that, RP 15. I always just assumed it covered. So see, even I just learned something right there, because I always thought it just covered the PD and like if we're out on an RP event, and I guess even I learned something right there. So I'll keep that in mind.
So about the green ticket, how you submit the green ticket on them?
I'll walk you through on that after he gets done with this everything.
All right. So to round this out, 3.4 is violation of traffic rules. That's like your general traffic offense violation. That's hitting sign poles, crashing, VDMing, running stop signs.
Going to the wrong side of the street.
Yep. And drunk driving also technically falls underneath 3.4. 3.5 is assault on a civilian. This applies when you witness a civilian hitting or shooting another civilian. It can just be, they don't have to die from it, and it's a 3.5. So just simply being shot. 3.6, you guys are all familiar with this one. When you guys bring them down into PDG after you arrest them and you ask for their documents and they refuse to give the documents, that's a 3.6. That can cover gun license, passport, vehicle specs, any type of document that you request and they refuse to give. Let me go up to 2.1 and 2.2 because we accidentally skipped over those. 2.1, harm or damage to state property. That covers, it can simply be shooting the police car. That's state property, so that's a 2.1. Tagging a state institution. 2.2 is the inverse of that. That's private property. So shooting a civilian vehicle, tagging a business. I've said this before, that fence line right there by Hands, I would actually argue that's probably private property. That's a 2.2. Those residences around there in Compton, that's 2.2 if they tag it. And I just wanted to point out something on the 2.3 because I think I've been saying this since we did the first violations class, and because I think you're going to see a lot of this probably when we start really getting more into dispatch, maybe, and things like that. The 2.3 of false calls to police in an emergency, I bet we see that a little bit more. But let me just read the definition. Calling 911 and making false claims of emergency or intending to mislead authorities, medics, or wasting the time of medic staff and PD staff. So that's just something to keep in mind, guys.
How can they call 911?
I'm saying, how come they call 911?
No, I said how can they call 911?
Yeah, how
So
can, yeah.
good question, James. Actually, good question. Every single one of you guys' cell phone is a 911. If you give it to the civilian and they call you directly, that's them calling 911.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so go ahead, Mr. John Wick.
Yes, so if you see a person asking you to add you, he's basically adding you as his contact for 911. When he calls you, he's calling 911. When they text you, they are trying to reach 911. Every single one of you guys' cell phone is 911.
That makes sense because I seen like the other day, somebody was trying to add me. I was like, "Why you add me?" It's like, "Yo, I'm gonna add you just in case I got in trouble or something, or
Sir,
people
so
messing
you
with me."
are, as a police officer, to accept those kind of ads, because what if those people trying to reach out for a police officer that is online and available for the duty, and they want you to be there for them?
That makes sense.
Then you arrest him. Nobody's above the law, Jimmy. Everybody is going to be charged if they do something, including if they are your best friends.
No, sir, that wasn't my question. I was asking because I arrested a suspect earlier and then he added me, but I didn't accept his his request.
You arrested a person because he added you?
No. After I arrested him, he had sent me a request.
That's fine. He'll send you for the future. I mean, they just because they committed a crime, that mean they're not going to be a. That doesn't mean they're going to be all bad all the time out there.
That don't mean, yeah, that don't mean they're bad person.
Go ahead, Shane first. Let's go with you. What's up, sir?
So, I had an individual add me the other day and kept calling me, requesting help, but it was for nonsense stuff. Would technically be abusive 911. How would I go about responding to that and dealing with it?
So, how did you know, first of all, it was a false call?
It's not that I thought it was a false call per se. It was just this individual kept calling 3 or 4 times and was like, well, this person is doing this and this person is doing that. And it was like repetitive.
So basically,
Go ahead.
what you would do for that, um, you could technically arrest them for that. You could give them a 2.3 because that is false calls to the police and emergency services. So technically, that would be a justified arrest. But I mean,
Yes, that would be a justified
I
arrest if
guess
they called you for something that is not there.
I'm guessing. I guess my question is would you prefer us go out to that requested location and investigate, and then if we can't find anything, do a 2.3?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Okay.
Demon, you had a question too?
I did, but I think it
No,
slipped my
extra
mind.
value
Sorry about that.
mail. The
Okay,
rat
Demon, go ahead.
traps, two of them.
Yeah, just a question
Large
about the
fry, large
2.7.
coke.
So yesterday I was out on
And that's all.
1012 with Soulmate Vic, and he accidentally hit somebody. He did
Thank
apologize
you.
for it, and then they started demanding that we give him money. He said, "But I apologize to you." He said, "So what? I need money for me." And then they tased us and shot us on the spot.
Okay. You should have got him, brother. You already. So if they want to role play it with you, Jimmy, you would say, "Okay, sir, I do apologize. We hit you. We're gonna call EMS for you guys." That's how you role play it. Now, if they pulled their gun and they're trying to shoot you, no, bro. You don't let people shoot you. You shoot back.
Okay, so I got a question. This is my question. I have like earlier today, like before when I log in, I did an arrest and the person was just spraying paint and stuff like that.
You did an arrest for spray painting only.
Yeah, and then he start going back and forth. He started saying, "Oh, I didn't do it. Call your supervisor. Call your head or anything." Like he just was going back and forth.
Okay, let me tell every single one of you guys something. People will try to provoke you to fail RP out there. They're gonna do their best to get out of the cuffs that you have on them or to even arrest them. If you are confident enough that you have everything on body cam, do not let them make you slip out of the role play. They're gonna try their best. They're gonna say, "Oh, demon, you're not supposed to do this. I'm gonna tell your supervisor." All they're doing is making demon not focus on his job.
And also too, is this guy? He said he used to be a police officer in y'all server. His name is Trap Log, and then I have a whole body cam. He say John Wick was talking bad about me. John Wick was behind me doing this. That's the reason. I'm like, what?
What did I just say, Duke? People gonna try to say try their best to make you fail RP. I'm gonna say it again to you, Duke. They're gonna, if you are confident enough that you have it on a body cam, there's nothing else to worry about. You continue to finish your arrest. All right, James, let's keep going because we have not that much time. Let's finish the class.
All right, yeah. So since we're here talking about violations, for most of the badged officers, I want my bad. I know some of you could probably give administrative and civil, but most of y'all can only give administrative. So make sure y'all call for a vested officer to come and assist y'all, or a suited officer. It doesn't matter. Just make sure y'all call for them, so that way you don't put the violations in the administrative category. Like if you put a 1.9, which is a criminal violation, you shouldn't put that in administrative because that is a criminal violation. So make sure you call for a higher up to do that. That's all I had to say.
All right, team. So now we're gonna hold mics. We're gonna hold the question till the class finishes, and at the end, if you have any questions, we'll answer them all together. Okay? Keep going, James.
So I was almost done. I wanted to add in though that there is an RP rule. It's called RP 16, which is criminal acts against emergency personnel. So any criminal acts toward an EMS is prohibited. And by the way, this one is, it can be a 90 minutes to 12-hour ban. So 90 minutes in jail or a 12-hour ban from the server. And I know a lot of you have heard about it, but really it it's below green scrubs. So like anybody above, John is always better at explaining RP16 than I am. So like I think you said it's below, anyone has green scrubs or lower, we can technically arrest them. Of course, that's not RP16, but you can't arrest EMS personnel unless they're on vacation or they're below that green scrub rank in the hospital. Just so you know that.
So let me clear out something for you guys. Green scrub, as soon as they get to green scrub, you are not to arrest them. as soon as they get to green scrubs, there is just, I don't know what they call that uniform when they're wearing like the blue jacket and like the black pants before they get
Your EMTs.
EMTs. All right. You are allowed to arrest them. You are allowed to shoot them if they shoot you. You are allowed to treat them just like a civilian or a gang member out there. As soon as they get to the green scrubs, you are not to do any criminal act or any shootout on them or even arresting them. You can detain them to contain them in that scenario and have them in cuffs with a proper body cam to prove it. And you are to send it to their higher ups and tell them that person did wrong. Because this technically falls into